So a number of years ago, and it was before I came to the Abbey, so before 2008, I noticed that we were in big trouble. It was about October 26th, and the Christmas decorations had hit the stores before October 31st, before Halloween. And this was a red flag to my mind that the world was in trouble. I think I was right. So I would go shopping for groceries in Safeway, and I would hear Christmas music playing in the stores. Santa was on every street corner, and the kids had not gone out yet for trick-or-treating. And I thought, this is the wrong visual here. So the advertising industry has for a very long time woven these multiple myths about how the month of December should look. We've seen this since our childhood, regardless of how old we are. We've been told how we should be happy, what things we need to be happy, what kinds of experiences we should have to be happy, and what happy families look like. And how gift giving is the way to express our love and gratitude for friends and family and colleagues. I bought the message. I bought it. I believed it. And so if our life doesn't line up with these images and myths, then it can happen that December is actually a profoundly painful month for some people, a time when the feeling of loneliness is ramped up to all-time highs. So as an ordinary being, I'll just speak for myself. I don't know what's going on with any of you in this room. I don't know what's going on with anyone who comes in front of me. I don't know what's going on for the person who is on the other side of the email, on the other side of the phone call. I just don't know. So it's best to assume, especially this month, knowing that it is a very challenging month for people, and it's good to do this every month, every day, but particularly now, that people are in need of tenderness. They're in need of having us cut them more slack. We're in need of us not jumping to conclusions. We're in need of them not having us mind read. An ordinary person like me has no clue. So just about everything this time of year, if you're struggling, is a trigger. The music, the lights, the decorations, the holiday celebrations, Christmas Day, if you're Canadian, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And so those who are grieving, whatever kind of loss they're grieving, it could be loss of a loved one, a job, you name it. The pain of mental grieving, the pain of this kind of suffering, in my experience, far exceeds any kind of physical pain I've ever had in my life. And so I would like to share with you Venerable Children's definition of grief, which when I was going through this in the deepest way about 6 years ago was helpful. It was something to hang my mind on, and she has described grief in this way. It's adjusting to a change we did not want or expect. Grief comes to the mind because we mistakenly grasp at things as permanent, not as how they actually exist, which is fleeting and transitory. And because of this misconception, we mistakenly believe that we can control the coming and going of things, events, and especially people. But due to their impermanence, there's no way we can control and determine how things will go. So 6 years ago, it was December for me, and that year, both my parents passed away within 8 months of each other. I had been preparing for this. It was no surprise, and I had Venerable coaching me all the way along, 5 years previous to that year, about how to work with my anticipatory grief, which is what that phenomenon is called. So I was kind of ready. But what I wasn't ready for was what happened after they both died. And I was not ready for what would hit me within the month of December. So I'm talking about attachment. And attachment brings profound pain. So I think I'll stick to the script so I can get through this. So I thought I was ready. And then I'd go into Newport to do chores. And guess what? All these Christmas carols were playing. My mom was a musician. She loved Christmas. She was the church organist for 40 years in our church. We never missed Mass, I can tell you. Never. And so we all knew the hymns and the Christmas carols, and Christmas was a time where our family got together, and that was how it was, you know. And here I am, a Buddhist, and I thought I was ready for this, and whammo, it was like being broadsided by a truck every day. So I'd go outside, and the sky would be a wintry sky. Kabam! I'm transported back to a time with my parents. I'd smell something cooking in the kitchen that smelled Christmassy. Whammo! Transported back in time. And each one of these transports, I have to say, was like getting a football in the stomach. Have you ever had that happen, or a baseball? It was just like the wind just gets knocked out of you. And so all I could do was just try and get through the day that month, that year. That's all I could do. I did show up for evening practice and morning practice. I tried to work with my mind as best as I could, but you see, I have this huge attachment that was cultivated since beginningless time, and especially in this life, I think. So what really helped me was not philosophical teachings. For a while, I berated myself on being such a poor practitioner because I was grieving, and so I thought I was losing by grieving. That didn't help. That just made the pain worse. So what really helped me, and I think this will help anyone who's watching this, practitioner or not, was the offering service part of our day. So every day I had the opportunity to show up and do something for someone else. So I got my mind out of, we have to grieve. This is a process. And so for a while I tried to deny the grieving too that needed to be done. But the offering service part, doing something for others, is what really, really helped. It took my mind to someone else, to something else. Scrubbing the toilet was a pretty cool thing to do. I wasn't scrubbing my toilet. I was scrubbing the toilet over there that a whole bunch of people would use. And then answering emails was really great. It took my mind out of this state for a while. So I'm raising this now because I think all kinds of times we encounter people, especially this month, and maybe they're rude to us, or maybe they're really disgruntled with something we've just done. Or maybe we say to them, hey, let's try this. Can we try this and see if it works? And what we get in return is a whole bunch of excuses and arguments, couched with, I don't understand what you're talking about. And so to just give these people a break, right? To just know that I don't know what's going on with you right now. I don't even know if it has something to do with the month of December. I don't know if you're grieving a loss. But there's a good chance that someone is. The worst thing that I could hear that month was when somebody said to me, I know what you're going through. Now, they meant well, dear. They meant well. But you know what? Everyone's process is unique. They didn't have a clue. It's just so complex. So I think even in the depths of grief, when our body and mind say, I can't do anything right now, because I had days like that too. I wanted to stay in bed all day. I just would pull the covers over my head because my mind was telling me this big lie that I couldn't get out of bed. And then I decided not to believe that mind. I got out of bed. I was fine. I could get out of bed. And then I decided each day I would write a list of what I could do. Because you know what? When you're grieving, not only is your mind out of whack, your physical body is totally out of whack. At least that was my experience. And so I had to make these very graphic lists of what I could do, and I had to check off the things to give myself some reassurance that I was doing something and that I had accomplished that task that day. And that was really helpful. So I think whether you're at an Abbey or, out in the world, there's so many little things we can do for people, even when we're compromised with grief. Just look across the street at your elderly neighbor. Maybe they need their sidewalk shoveled. Maybe they need a phone call. Maybe they need a drive to the doctor's office. Maybe they just want some company. The whole thing of gift giving. Do you remember what you got when you were 11 years old? Or 22? I think what we remember is when people spend time with us. So, because this is a difficult month, let's do what we can to be kind to each other. Let's not try and mind read. Let's not try and figure out why people are being grouchy. Let's just think, hey, something's going on for them. I don't know. Maybe if they want to tell me about it, great. If they don't, fine. I can still do something to make their day better.